Welcome to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand.
Yes, people, what is happening? AGT back here for the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand. And we're outside the stand now. That is football's most famous stand. We're here for what can only be described as an absolute monster of a game on Sunday. Potentially, I think, the biggest game in English football, especially, I should say, in the last 3 years. This rivalry between Pep and Klopp has been incredible. The two most successful English teams really in the last 5 years, Liverpool and City, go head to head again. Before we get into this score prediction and match preview lineup prediction video, remember, give us the video a like and obviously subscribe to the Kop TV if you haven't already. We'll be back here on Sunday after full time speaking to fans, so make sure you stick around for the fan cams too. But let's get into this match preview. No win at Anfield for Manchester City with fans in the stadium since 2003. Obviously they won last year. I'm not really counting that, to be honest. Obviously Alisson gave them two horrendous goals and we lost that one 4-1. There was no fans in the stadium. Raheem Sterling scored that night. Foden got a couple. And it was a horrible occasion. It really did kind of solidify all the doom and gloom last season that we've actually lost at home to Man City, like I said, for the first time in almost 20 years since that Nicolas Anelka performance with Joey Barton and Steve McManaman back in 2003. Unbelievable. Listen, they've just lost the game. They've just lost in the Champions League to PSG, and you guarantee if they'd won that game, 2 or 3, even 4, then they'd be bouncing into this game. They'd be full of confidence. But I genuinely do believe that their European slip-up could potentially cost them at the weekend. They haven't really experienced what it's like to play at Anfield with fans and do well. So they've got no real experience to draw on, and a lot of these players will be intimidated by the fans. There's no question about that. Just like they were in the 2 previous trips to Anfield before they actually won last year. Very unsuccessful they've been. So listen, obviously we're hoping for more of that, more of the same. If you actually look at their team, it's frightening. I mean, in every position they've got world-class players, maybe even 2 or 3 in some positions. Obviously, if you look in goal, the second best Brazilian goalkeeper after Alisson, of course, and then you look at Walker, who still is so quick. You look at the centre-backs. I think Laporte and Stones are both going to be out for this one, which means that most likely Ake and Diaz will play at centre-back, with probably João Cancelo at left-back, considering that their other left-back is in jail for some things that we won't mention. But going into the midfield, they can always change it up. They've always got players that are going to hurt you. Bernardo Silva's been getting so much applause recently from their fans. He's maybe stepping into the shoes now that were left so big by David Silva. I personally don't like him. He didn't clap Liverpool when they did the Guard of Honour at the Etihad last season, so not a big fan of Silva at all, to be honest, but he's a very good player. And then in the middle with him you've got the players like De Bruyne, like Grealish can play there, like Foden, Rodri. There's just so many players that can hurt you in that midfield and really keep the ball. And the one thing that Liverpool will be looking to do on Sunday isn't necessarily keep the ball the whole game, but when we have the ball, make sure we do something very effective with it. And I think if the noise starts creeping up and we're putting pressure on and we're chasing down that ball, I just really struggle to see Manchester City dealing with the atmosphere on this one. No Sergio Aguero. He never actually scored at Anfield in maybe 10 appearances. Loved scoring against us for Man City at the Etihad, but never scored for City at Anfield. So hopefully, again, he's gone now, but let's hope their other strikers keep that record up. Let's look at some more players. I mean, Raheem Sterling is realistically one of the greatest players in the Premier League in the last few years. There was talks that maybe we'd have him back at Anfield. Let me know in the comments. Would you actually take Raheem Sterling back if the opportunity popped up? Would you take Coutinho back if the opportunity popped up? This isn't a transfer show, but I wanted to throw that question at you anyway. And then, of course, Jack Grealish, of course, Ferran Torres, of course, Mahrez. These guys are also dangerous, and I think when you're looking at their squad in whole, you can't really help yourself but get petrified. But we are Liverpool Football Club, and if there's one team that can really rattle Manchester City and Pep, it's Liverpool. So let's talk about Liverpool then. We've spoken about the opponents. Let me know what you think the Manchester City lineup is going to be. Are they going to go defensive? Are they going to play with a striker? Will it be a false nine? Let me know. Let's talk about Liverpool now. Of course, we're outside of Anfield. What a beautiful occasion. Very windy. That's why I am with Brolly today to kind of block out that wind. But if we're looking at the team itself, we're obviously going to go with Alisson in goal. Trent is out. No Trent for this game, which means that James Milner will play at right back for Liverpool. And if there's one person who you can rely on in that situation to really put a shift in, be physical, set the pace, set the tone for the game, then it's James Milner. Of course, used to play for Manchester City, so he knows all too well what it means. And I've got every faith in him that he will do a great job. He always turns up in the big games. And how about this for a stat? Since 17-18, in the Champions League, Lionel Messi has 11 assists. Cristiano Ronaldo has 12. Guess who's got 13 assists in the Champions League since 17-18? James Milner. So technically, all this GOAT chat about Messi or Ronaldo, you've got to put James Milner in that bracket as well, mate, because he is 36 going on 37, still the fittest player at the club. He can run for days. He's like Forrest Gump, James Milner. He's just, I think he wins the bleep test every year in the pre-season, so you can't get rid of him until he maybe comes second in that. So James Milner at right back, and I'm really proud and happy to say that. Such a great servant to Liverpool, potentially maybe our best ever free signing over 6 years ago now. Vice captain of Liverpool. So James Milner at right back. In the middle, you have to keep Van Dijk and Matip. Still haven't made any mistakes, really. And I think if you are going to see Konate come into the team, it would only happen if someone like Joel Matip made a mistake. But again, hasn't done that. And he's made so many interceptions. He's made so many crucial headers and blocks and runs. I just can't get enough of Joel Matip at the minute. I really do feel as if he is the one that is not only making us play so well at the minute, but he keeps Virgil calm as well. And Virgil next to him knows about this fixture as well. He relishes these kinds of opportunities to play against the best. And you saw on the other night against Porto just how calm and composed they both were. And Robertson as well at left back. There were some shouts in the fan cams last week that someone like Tsimikas could be better than Robertson. Who knows? There was a lot of views on that video, so it was really interesting to see that. But Robertson will be at left back. And in the middle, this is the contentious one. The boy in form, the boy wonder, Curtis Jones. Does he play? Do you keep him in the team? I would say you have to. It would be an absolute travesty if you left Curtis Jones out of this game. I think he's ready for it. He's got the passion, he's got the desire, he's technically very gifted, and he's still only 20. And if you look at where he is in his career now, compared to maybe where Gerrard was at 20, they're not too far off at all. And I'll stick by that shout. I do think it's a bold one, but I like that shout. And for me personally, you'd have to put Fabinho and Henderson in that midfield as well. Thiago is injured. Keita always really injured as well, to be honest. You can't really rely on him, even though he's trying to reject new contract talks. Harvey Elliott obviously out for a long time. But then you've still got players like Ox who could come off the bench. And then up front, again, do you go with Bobby? 2 goals against Porto on Wednesday night. Do you go with Jota, who has maybe not been at his best in the last 2 or 3 games? Scored a great header nonetheless against Brentford, I think it was, in the league. So do you go with him? Do you go with Firmino? Let me know in the comments. Interesting to see. But obviously Mane and Salah will start on those wings. And then even you could bring on Origi. You could play Minamino, who scored 2 goals against Norwich, and Origi scored as well. You could bring on any of these guys, and it's really interesting to see how strong our bench is at the minute. You know, we could bring on Origi, Minamino, the Ox, Tsimikas for a bit more on the left. We've got a plethora of options. So that's my team lineup prediction. That's who I'm going for. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. In terms of a score prediction, as the wind clatters into me here, I am going to go with 2-0 to Liverpool. I do think will be too much for Manchester City. Listen, this is without doubt always our hardest game at Anfield every season, but it's one that I do actually go into very confident every year as well. So just because it is a very hard game doesn't mean you can't be confident. I'm going for a fairly comfortable but very tight Liverpool win, if that even makes any sense. I don't know if it does. Let me know in the comments. Right, like I said, we'll be back outside here on Sunday, so make sure you're locked into the channel for then. Until then, come on Liverpool, like, comment and subscribe. We'll see you soon. Whoa, just before you go,
don't forget, give us a like, drop us a comment and subscribe to the Kop TV.
The voice of football's most famous stand.